man. So how's everything been so far today?
So far, today's been great.
Yeah,
The weather's been good. The kids been great.
awesome.
Everything's been really good.
Yeah, you,
Yeah,
you just had your daughter, right? Or yeah, you had a daughter, right?
yeah, yeah,
How old
yeah.
is she? She's like
She is 2 months and 1 week old.
nice,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I got two kids. I got a son and a daughter too, and
yeah. I was
they're
gonna
my
ask. Yeah.
yeah. My son is 4 and my daughter is 2. She's gonna be 3 in November. So
Oh
they're
man.
on they're in like their wild
Yeah,
toddler
that's
phase right now.
that fun age. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man, because I remember whenever my daughter was and my kids were like little, like 2, 3 months, I was like so upbeat to be like, come on, I want them to get older. And then now I'm like, I wish I would just go back to being small and not running around and not set up all my stuff and acting all crazy. But it's still fun, as it goes. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. So let's talk about your comics. So it's Cornax, right? Cornax is how you
Konax.
pronounce it.
Yeah,
Cornax. I have
Konax.
my copy right here,
Yeah.
issue number 1. So I think I found your page. I don't know if somebody reposted your work or something. I don't really know, but talk about like what kind of got you inspired to like drawing and then moving on to starting to make comics.
So it really kind of started. I mean, I drew a lot in school. Pretty much as any other kid.
Hmm.
But I went to college for about 2 years, and I realized that I was not a college kid. I can't do college, man. So I ended up dropping out. And when that happened, I was working in restaurants. I worked in restaurants for many years, and I carried a sketchbook with me every time I would, go to work, and I would go and sit in the car or go sit at a table or whatever, and I would draw my sketchbook. Around that time, I was also reading comics, and I just kind of had that connection with comics. I was interested in them. I really wanted to make them,
Yeah.
but this was around a little over 10 years, so around like 12 years ago. And if you were interested in comics at that time, there was like no information on it. Like you can go on YouTube, and we didn't have streamers. We didn't have um, you know, people actually uploading information on how to make comics. Like that just
Hmm.
wasn't a thing. And honestly, I don't think it was a popular thing until after COVID. But yeah, somewhere around that realm around COVID, somewhere around like 2021, I said I've got to do this. I've got to make comics. I've been drawing for years, never did
Hmm.
anything, and I started sitting down. I started watching cartoonist kayfabe. I started watching all these different things coming out. I started
Yeah.
realizing like, oh, there's a whole scene here that only I've scratched the surface on. And through that time, I just got into making comics more, and it's given me sort of this way to express myself, but at the same time, I get to also tell stories. So I, I, I'm loving it now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think so. I started drawing like in middle school. And that was like probably like 2010, 2011. And there was like it was like a very niche, super small. There wasn't that many
Were you
pages
reading?
dedicated.
Were you reading the comics or anything at that
Yeah,
time?
so I started reading comics in same around the same time. So like I was always interested in like reading and also interested in artwork. And then I kind of knew what manga and stuff were. Um
Yeah,
I started like picking up comics maybe like in 5th grade or 4th, 5th grade. I started going to the flea market a lot, and I would just there
yeah.
was a place in the flea market that had a bunch of comics. So I would just pick up random ones. I didn't know what it was. Just like, oh, I know this character. I know Spider-Man. I know Wolverine. I
That's
know this stuff like that.
that's great because that's
Hmm.
actually that's how I first got comics, was at the flea market here, because we did at the time. We didn't have any comic shops in my area, but we
Hmm.
had a guy in the flea market that sold current books, and he sold old books. And I was able to like kind of like I remember buying like Jeff Johns Green Lantern because I thought that was just so cool at the time. And now I'm just like, whatever, it was an
Yeah.
interesting book, I guess. But at the time I was reading it because that was like the way I was introduced. And then I picked up an old book, like an old, like, I think it was a Silver Age Green Lantern. Uh, it was like a Green Lantern 2025, I think. Anyways, it was from
Yeah.
the 60s, and I bought it because it was like, not expensive at the time. And then I read it and actually realized that that book had an ending, and all the other comics I had been reading didn't have endings, and that was kind of like a thing that clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, comics don't have to. The comics have endings. I can make a book. I don't have to make like a big long epic saga. Anyways, sorry, I went on a rant on that one.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, yeah. Same. So like, same thing. It was like the flea market, and my like when I was growing up, my dad was like, "I'm not gonna buy you like toys and stuff, but I'll buy you books." So we would go to Barnes and Nobles and Borders a lot, and so
Yeah,
there they at that time in like the early 2010s, the late 2010s, there was like they would have spinner racks there. So I remember picking up a lot of like the Simpsons comics.
yeah,
Manga was
yeah.
prevalent as well, so I remember like I was picking up like Naruto and just like random manga I would see that thought it was cool, and then just kind of all that accumulated, and then I was like, oh well, I want like I like storytelling, I want to start drawing, so I started teaching myself how to draw. But the same as you was like learning how to draw comics and manga was like super niche as well on the internet.
Yeah.
And I stopped drawing once I got into like seventh grade, started playing sports, and I got back into it during COVID as well, like you. And I already kind of knew a little bit about how art kind of works in drawing, and it took me like that long to like kind of get back into the mode of it. And then now, same as you, was like now I just want to make comics. Now I want to make comics, and then um, I started at work doing these channels and all that stuff because of the same reason of just like promotion and stuff. And then it's just been growing from there. But from when you started like from COVID to now, like what was the inspiration for the Konax series? And like, are you like a big fan of like mech comics of like this style of storytelling?
So Konax really I so I grew up watching a lot of Godzilla and
Hmm.
Ultraman and stuff like that, but I'm not like a diehard fan of it. And Power Rangers, of course, which is
Yeah.
just that was in everybody's bloodstream whenever
Yeah, for real.
that was out. But when I got older, of course, I just I fell in love with other things, Star Wars and all that other stuff. But like around that 2021, I think that was the year that I started drawing Konax. It was sort of like not the character, or not the comic, but when I first started drawing the character,
Mhm.
they were all robots. I was drawing him. I drew a whole bunch of other different robot designs that I really liked. Um, and the idea, my original comic book intention was to make this sort of like, you remember that movie Real Steel, where they have the
Oh, yeah.
robots fighting each other?
Mhm.
I was going to kind of have that, except the robots were going to be controlled by like these customized game boards that had like joysticks and stuff. And like I'm really into like having really, interesting designs and ideas and stuff in the comics. I don't want it to just be, like they're playing an arcade game or something. I wanted it to kind of
Yeah.
look like Yu-Gi-Oh or something, like they have
Okay,
this,
yeah.
yeah, this sort of like arena and people everywhere. And anyways, I got really into that, but it was such a high concept idea that I couldn't figure it out.
Mhm.
And so that's whenever I kind of decided, well, I was still drawing Konax. I would draw him in my sketchbook all the time. I kind of became obsessed with him, just drawing him repeatedly. And his design changed a lot. In fact, at the end of Konax, I think I have my robot sketches in there. Um, but that's whenever I was like, okay, I want this to be kind of like Ultraman. Like I
Yeah.
wanted it to not be a robot. Everybody does robots. So how can I make this more like a humanoid guy? And at the time, Ultra Mega was out, and I was reading Ultra Mega, and I
The
was like,
best.
oh man, I was like, so like this is kind of like a direction I can go. So how can I make this my own kind of idea? And that's where
Mhm.
I came up with the idea of him being this sort of antibody for Earth, and instead of him being an alien like Ultraman and all these other things that can come out at the time, he's a part of Earth. He's sort of like a proxy for Earth. And I thought, well, that is interesting because now I can create this little story, but also in the future expand on it.
Mhm.
And so when I did that, that's when I started doing a lot of research. Like I knew I wanted it to look like a kind of like a manga, but also American, So of
Yeah.
course, like everybody, I looked at Daniel Warren Johnson stuff,
Mhm.
and of course, Ultra Mega and everything like that. But I also looked at old comics. I looked at old manga like Getter Robo G.
Mhm.
Um, I looked at Mazinger, and then including Mazinger, I actually picked up some 1970s Shogun Warriors. This is me, man. Shogun Warriors is where it's at. The fighting in it kind of made me realize, like, oh, okay, we can actually, Americans can actually pull this kind of stuff off. I mean,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know if I can. There it is. I mean, it's great. It's just wonderful stuff. So that was pretty much it. Once I figured all that out, I started writing the story over and over and over again.
Nice.
And then
Yeah, I
there's
can see
my
the
double page spread.
like the inspiration of like the Daniel Warren Johnson, James Herron, like those guys. I definitely check out a lot of their work too. It's funny enough, Ultra Mega definitely inspired my AWOL comic also. Like reading that and kind of like the flow. I like James Herron is like a very unique artist and he's really good with like fluidity and showing action and pace and also like his structure of like his anatomy and stuff is just so
Yeah,
it's amazing. He's one of my
I
favorites just to look at.
I love whenever he's drawing buildings and cars and stuff. I'm like, this is so
Yeah.
simple, but it's so him. It's so his own DNA. It's great. AWOL looks great, by the way, and it's crazy how, like, you're already on your third issue, right? Have
Yeah, I
you?
just finished the third one. I got to do a little bit
Man,
of edits and stuff here and there. I think I might have to add a couple pages, but yeah, I'm done with the yeah, I'm done with the third issue. I'm definitely like yeah,
machine, man.
yeah, I'm
That's
trying, man.
awesome.
Just make the best use of my time. But yeah, I mean, this is great though. I really like your art is A1, dude. Like you're the way you're able to convey action and motion, it just looks really, really like well done. Like it's like
Thanks, man.
top tier quality. I love it. It just are these digital tones here? I'm assuming so.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of the tones in the book are digital. Well, there's a couple pages that have like that right there.
Mhm.
The tone that's in the smaller panel, that's
All right.
digital, but the actual
Okay.
screen tone that's on Konax is real. I
Yeah.
just kind of used whatever screen tone I had on hand, but
Mhm.
most of it's digital. It's real scans of tones that I've collected over the
Oh,
years,
okay.
and then I'll take it and I don't make brushes. I actually copy and paste it onto the image and edit out what I don't
Nice.
need,
Okay.
just like real screen tone.
Yeah, I do the same thing, but I have a brush set that I
Yeah,
found on like Procreate a long time ago, like when I first got on the app. So I've been using that pretty much same here with you, just digital tones because using practical tones takes a long ass time. Like
yeah, I can't do. People are always like, "You don't use practical tones?" Like, no, man, it drives me
Mhm.
crazy. I can't do it. I did it for many years. I actually did a piece right before I did Konax. It was like a little 9 by 12 piece, and it has like four different screen tones on it, and it looks great. I mean, it looks
Mhm.
awesome in person, but it took me hours just on the screen tone. I'm like, I don't know how manga
Yeah.
artists do it, man. I mean, I know that they have assistants and stuff, but
Mhm.
man, I would feel terrible to be an assistant for a manga
Yeah, that
artist.
is so like you have
Woo.
to really have a good hand and like to
Yeah.
cut around the shape and see. Oh man, yeah, it is difficult. Like when because I have a bunch of like I had a homie go to Japan and he brought back a bunch of screen tones for me.
Oh man.
And so I have
Yeah.
like 50 sheets, but I like barely use them because like I'm just like, bro,
Yeah.
like I got to figure out like, all right, when am I going to use this? And usually I just
Yeah.
use them for like pinups and stuff, but it is a hassle, you know.
It
But
is.
yeah, man,
It
this is
is.
awesome. This is sick, man. So
Yeah. So
from
yeah,
oh, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say about this. So I don't like too much violence in my books, like just
Hmm.
because I'm not like that's just not me. But at the same time, I do like a good grotesque scene, especially in comics. And so I stewed over this for like I drew it. I got really into it. I mean, there's all kinds of like whiteout and ink and everything on that. And
Yeah,
I got done with it, and I was like, no, this is might be too much. I don't want like I want kids to read this. It's a
yeah,
it's supposed to be like a Saturday morning cartoon meets manga type thing. So I showed it to
yeah,
my wife and I was like, "Hey, like, is this too much?" And she was like, "No, it's alien blood, so it doesn't really it doesn't really matter if it's alien blood." So I was like, "All
yeah. You
right,
got to do the like on the cartoons, like you watch like Samurai Jack instead of there being blood or
yeah,
somebody cut somebody, it would just be like black oil or something like that. He's
yeah,
always fighting a
yeah,
robot for some reason.
yeah,
You got to figure out that. It looks great though, man. I mean, you seem so
yeah."
like you've been. How long have you been drawing for? Like for a good like
I mean,
10 years or so? Or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've been drawing like consistently since so I think I dropped out of college in like 2012, and that was when I
Mhm.
picked up my first sketchbook. Like I didn't have a sketchbook when I was a kid. I just drew
Yeah.
If there was a magazine or a newspaper or something that had pictures, I would try to recreate the pictures. But like really trying to figure out how to draw figures and anatomy and stuff, like actually drawing, like I when I first started drawing, I would get my sketchbook and I would actually try to draw cartoons.
Yeah.
The whole Cartoon Network thing was going on at the time, Adventure Time and Regular Show
Hmm.
and all these shows. I would try to draw these cartoons, and then in that time I kind of realized like, oh, I can make them move. I can make these characters, like I can, instead of just recreating it, I can draw them in a different pose. And through that time I started taking like I didn't take any classes. I'm like self-taught, but what I used to do was actually go on YouTube, and they would have like model videos where they would have a person just in a pose, and they would usually
Yeah.
have clothes on. It wasn't anything like nude or whatever, but
Hmm.
it'll give you like a timed thing to like study gestures. And then I read
Okay.
books
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So I did a lot of practice through the years. Um,
Yeah.
so that right there is actually probably how you found me. So I did this page, and I was really proud of it. And
It looks awesome.
it's a total rip. I ripped this from Daniel Warren Johnson's mini comic that he did on Pacific Rim. Now it's not
Oh
like a
wow.
one-to-one thing, so it's a totally different like it's
Hmm.
totally a different like drawing. It's not an actual trace, or
Yeah.
it's even the composition's different, but the actual idea and sort of the perspective and stuff was what he did in his comic, and I shared it and I tagged him in it, and then he shared it on his page, and that was like whenever
Must have been
a
possible.
lot of
Yeah.
a lot of people found me after that.
Yeah, it's awesome. This looks great, man. How long did it take you to do a page like this? This is like hyper detailed. Everything seems to be like there's no like you maximize everything on the page essentially.
Yeah, I was in the zone when I did this. So
I can tell.
in 2024, when I was drawing the pages for Konax, I was averaging a page a day.
Oh,
So when
nice.
I did the double page, I did that probably took me a couple days to do, and then that ending page I think took me a weekend.
Wow, that's awesome.
But I was drawing a lot at the time.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah. I mean, I think I do like, yeah, about like a page or two a day, depending. But I'm not as detailed as what you got going, especially like now with the backgrounds, not yet.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, it's hard, man.
yeah, it
I
is
mean,
hard.
I can't say anything now because Konax 2 has taken me almost a year. I started in January, and I just finished the page art. Excuse me, I just finished the page art back in August. So like, it's totally different now. But last year I was cooking, that's for sure.
I mean, it looks great. The second volume looks dope. Like all the stuff you've been sharing on Instagram looks really, really good.
Mhm.
Um, I think, I don't think when we with indie people, and especially with like when you're like coming up, I don't think really people are like having like expectation of like, oh, we want you to drop something monthly. I think it's just like whenever you put it out, you put it out.
Yeah.
So where are you like, what is your goals going forward with Konax? Are you gonna try to just keep going on with that, work on other things? I know you did the Star Fox comic, which is really, really dope as well. I checked
Yeah.
that out. That was really awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Star Fox comic was sort of like kind of like a cathartic release after doing the first book, because the first book was my first book. That took
Yeah.
a lot of work. I didn't know what I was
Mhm.
doing. I was so nervous about my page layouts. I had to redo them like so many times.
Mhm.
And I learned how to letter, and like I've practiced lettering. I've done it like by hand. I've done it on other like mini comics, but never a 22 page book. That was crazy. So I needed something to do myself, and so I did Star Fox as a way to get out of it. And through that, now I'm doing another like video game fanzine for F Zero. Um, but Konax two is basically the follow up to Konax one. I
Yeah.
ended I ended Konax one on a cliffhanger. I don't like
Mhm.
that. I don't like ending things on cliffhangers. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to bring in this robot. I really wanted this whole like Lex Luthor Superman kind of rival.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like a great way of saying like, Konax just appeared out of the ground. People now have questions. Who is he? Like, is he capable of hurting us? Can the earth turn on us? There's
Mhm.
questions there that I felt like was interesting. But after Konax 2, that does not end on a cliffhanger. Spoiler alert for everybody, but it will not end on a cliffhanger. And I plan to actually go to more of an anthology and actually do like little short stories for a little bit. I have so much stuff, man. I'm getting some work now, which is great, but it's gonna get in the way of stuff. So I'm moving things to short stories for
Yeah.
Konax and pumping out those when I can.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of fall in the same trap with like some of my series where I have like this grandiose idea and then I'm like, I need to scale it back down because I don't think
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
have like, and I also run into the like sometimes a little bit of the problem of like, oh, I have a different idea and I want to kind of adventure on that thing and stuff. So like same like I'm running into that right now with AWOL where I finished the third issue and I'm like, I already have the fourth issue thumbnailed and everything just ready, just the pencil and
man.
ink. So
Yeah,
I'm just like I'm already kind of like not losing interest, but I'm kind of just like I don't want. But I'm gonna finish it because I already got it done. So like my goal is to have the first like trade done for that, and then I'll probably move on to some other stories. Recently I've been thinking about like what I'm gonna do here in the future for like next year, like my plans for the comics I'm gonna do.
yeah,
I mean I did like a bunch of comics before I started doing like posting a lot on my Instagram. I mean if you scroll back, you'll see all the promo for all that stuff. It's just the older stuff I was doing. Like pretty much when I got into drawing, it was like straight up I want to do comics. I don't want to do any paintings. I don't want to do pinup art. I want to do
yeah,
comics. So I
yeah.
did like a
That's
bunch of
me.
like web comics, um, digital comics, some that were specific for the Instagram page and all that stuff. So I've just been building up from there. And some of the ideas I had, I really liked. Like I have a superhero story that I'm gonna probably bring back here for next year that I really liked, but my art I just didn't feel like was up to par for the type of story I wanted to tell with it. And like I did at all of 2023, I had a web comic that I did a monthly chapter for. Like I did like 12 chapters, and then
Oh man.
I was like, man, this is like the story I want to tell. It's just not like the art. I can't draw what I want to put on the page. So like I
Yeah,
stopped, and then I went and like studied hella. I had like I did like the same thing as you were talking about with the YouTube thing, but I found a website called Line of Action, and it would do the same thing where you timed and it'll show you like pictures like models, and I would just sketch them real fast. Did a bunch of anatomy
yeah,
studies, tutorials on YouTube, and things like that. So I pretty much just kind of just been like figuring that stuff out, and
yeah,
then just kept going from there. But was one thing I want to talk about, like what so you are being you're going to be distributed through was that Power Pulp now? How did
yeah,
that
yeah.
come about?
I actually don't know. I started messaging Rick Lopez a lot. You know Rick
Okay, yeah.
Lopez, Cosmic Cat.
Hmm. Yeah.
I started talking to him a lot, and you know, just chatting around and everything. And I have a feeling that he might have recommended me. I'm not really sure,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody must have recommended me, and you know, they I guess they liked my work and they wanted me a part of the team. So now I'm there. I'm a member.
Nice.
And it's great so far. The guys are really awesome. Guys and gals, everybody's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And they're you know, they're planning, you know, for expansion. You know, right now we're just trying to figure out different ideas and different, you know, ways to get the books in people's hands, which is just, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great new avenue for indie artists. And I think that's really important, especially for our little community that we have. I mean, all of us indie creators that are trying to figure out this whole way of this new market that we're in. That's the thing that's really fascinating, like especially like with you, which I really appreciate you and your YouTube channel, because there's not as many guys doing what you're doing, and then the media coverage that you are doing, where you sometimes talk about comics and stuff like that, and now you're interviewing people. It's awesome because you know, within this, you know, indie comic creator community, that's the best way we're going to be able to market, is by marketing each other. So
Yeah.
it's really cool, man. I'm
Thank you.
glad that I'm part of it. I'm glad that you're doing your thing too, and it's working.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what like as I was coming up and like getting back into the spaces and stuff, there was like a big thing. Like a lot of people were talking about, like, oh, like I don't want to be a marketer and I don't want to be a comic book creator because you know it conflicts a lot, and it
Yeah,
does. I think I'm just kind of like lucky in the sense that I've been able to kind of figure out and put myself in a position where I can do this stuff. You know, it's like I don't really have to worry about, because I have a good job. Like I have a day job, and it's a good job, pays
yeah,
all the bills.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Same.
married, kids, and all that stuff. So it's like I don't really have to worry about any of that type of stuff. It's more just like finding the pockets of time during the day to, do what I need to do, right? So,
Right.
and then I just started realizing like, well, there's not enough comic book channels by artists who do like, content, like, and not
Yeah.
because I mean, there are people who do content, but they don't really know how to utilize the social media platforms. A lot of the people are like older, or maybe like, again, they might not have the time or the energy to like draw and produce content. So I just kind of saw the void there, and I just kind of dove in. At first I was doing the same thing like the K-Fam people were doing, Ed
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jim. Like I have a bunch of comics. I was trying to like, read them, overhead, the whole angle and everything. But I realized I was like, well, I'm talking to myself and I don't really know as much as they do about comics. But I was watching a lot on YouTube were like video essays outside of like the comic book content, which I don't really watch a lot of comic book content. Like here and there, I watch a few podcasts and a couple guys depending on who they are. But
Yeah.
I mostly watch like video essays and like deep dives on like certain topics and stuff. And I was like, you know what, I can do that myself because I can write, somewhat pretty well, pretty fast. And then, I pay attention a lot to like comics and like the weird, like minutia, nuanced things and random things. And I kind of like correlate it with like some sort of like intellectual things. And I call it like comic book lore, where I find like random things that I already know about and to kind of expound on that and maybe
that was
attach
the
to a
first
different idea.
video. I watched one on oh man, you had one about manga. Can't remember what it was, but it was one of the first videos I saw, and I was like, "Oh, this is fascinating." I think it was like Marvel manga, or like Marvel had its own manga or something at one point.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think I did like a
It was
video
something like
about, I've
that.
done so many different ones like that, where I did one where
Yeah,
like how manga's influencing American artists and how that, and
that's what it was.
maybe I was talking
Yeah.
about, I think I talked about Ultra Mega in it. That was like the main story I talked
I
about in
just
there.
I just remember that your editing and the actual like writing that you did for it was really good. It was a very good
Mm.
like video essay, and I was like, "Oh man, he's really putting out some good content." So, and
No, thank you.
I'm not even trying to talk you up for the channel. It was legitimately what got me interested in your YouTube channel.
Oh man, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I started doing that like, man, like a year and a half ago, because I was like, man, I can do that. I can figure that out. And then I just like slowly, you just kind of have to like kind of like fall in love with it, because I think a
Yeah.
lot of times people try to do something and then they don't really like it, and then they quit. And so I think I kind of fell in love with the process of like writing. Like right now, I'm trying to figure out how I can maximize that. And then I started this channel because I want to start talking to artists, and this is how you like learn information. This is how like having these conversations,
Yeah.
it builds the database for me to like move forward into other video essays and stuff like that, because there's only so many interviews I can look up. There's already so many channels and videos I want to watch, but when I'm talking to people and like having the real interactions, it helps build up, and also like genuine connection just to talk to people, and then I can help promote people, and then we can draw too, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
that was kind of the reason for this second channel, because I saw seeing like what Ink Pulp was doing. I started seeing like what other like channels were doing, and there are not a lot of creators who are artists as well. So outside of like people who do like these live stream channels, like things which don't really do as well, depending on unless the person's like already popular or like doing it super
Yeah.
duper consistently all the time to where they can build up that following. But
Yeah.
if you're like a
Yeah.
pro or like someone who's doing a lot of work, you might not have the time to do this. Like there might be a point at one point where I end up like getting a deal or publishing, or have to be on a deadline where I won't be able to do the YouTube stuff no more. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. I'm hopefully, but my goal is to maintain myself and just build my brand up with the comics, and then just kind of like not have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like what I've been trying to do, and like continuing to do. I mean, it's kind of worked here, like so far. I mean, building up the followings helped people kind of like know me a little bit now. I did the Kickstarter, which was like a goal of mine. That was pretty, stressful, but it was also fun at the same
That's
time.
that's my
So
thing now is I'm like, oh dude, I have to do a Kickstarter. I really don't want to, but I know I have to. This book is going to be like 32 pages. I've got to do a Kickstarter. I can't pay for that book.
yeah. For
So
the
yeah.
next Konax.
Yeah.
Okay,
Konax
yeah.
too.
I mean, I think it would do pretty good. I think Kickstarter. I think, and especially since you have the first issue, like
Yeah,
I had
it
that as an
would.
add-on or whatever, and
Yeah,
people I think it would do pretty good. I mean, Kickstarter is a good platform. It's just like a stressful platform to use because there isn't a really like a rhyme or reason to how it works. Like you can
that's
always
what I've
get like
heard.
you can get like the people who are already going to like back your book or want to buy your comics to go, but it's like I don't know. I haven't because I've only done it once, but I don't know how to get like the people who are just on there scrolling to like back and because it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't really matter about like quality because there are people who don't have really good quality and they'll make a lot of money, and people who have really high quality they won't. It's just like a whole marketing thing. I mean, there's a few people I talked to. Like one person I talked to, and he was pretty much just like, the more you use it, the more like Kickstarter will like push your stuff out. And but he's been using it for like 10 years, and he said it took him like, at least like 5 years to crack 10K. And I was like, damn,
man,
but
that's all algorithm stuff.
yeah, it's just a lot of extra stuff. But I mean, even as a launching pad, like even if you were able to get like to like $5,000, that's enough to have a hella load of stuff, and then you just got to go to shows and just get it out there, So like I have like maybe like 80, a little less than 80 issues left of AWOL #1. So I'm like trying to figure out what shows can I go to, what can I do this and and like push it on my website, which my website's hit or miss sometimes. Like I'll get like earlier this year I was getting like a lot of people ordering stuff, but I haven't gotten that many this last like couple months, which I'm not like really sure why. It just, I don't know. Some people, I just feel like people are really weary about buying stuff off people's websites for some reason, but who knows,
Yeah, that could be a real thing. I don't even try doing the website stuff anymore. I did that shortly. It's expensive. It's time consuming. I was like, I'm not. I'm gonna hold on to the stuff. Try to do some shows, and then like anybody that DMs me that wants something, I'll sell it to them. And then Power Pulp came along, and I definitely wanted to get set up with Power Pulp because I'm still providing the books. They're just doing the distribution with me, But like. Yeah, that's the next thing is I need to have copies because I plan on doing a lot more shows. I plan on actually going, because I'm like in the deep South and there's like nothing here. And so I'm like, I want to go and meet, all of these other creators, all the ones that have been so awesome to me. I want to, share books and hang out and do all that stuff, and in order to do that, I'm going to have books. I'm going to have inventory, and that's the Kickstarter. So that's the next thing on my to-do list. Konax 2 is taking forever because I have the baby now, and I'm doing the dialogue and editing and everything. And it's kind of like certain things were not working. So now I'm changing some things, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I had that same problem with Konax 1. I would get through with the book, and then I would look at, some of the writing and stuff and just be like, this doesn't work. I've got to rewrite this, move this. And that's just me. I think way too hard about that stuff.